Guys, it's Carissa. I just got home from my appointment. I finally have a cycle plan, kind of. At least I've ruled out one of the options. So I had 3 follicles on my left side yesterday that were around 15. And today I only had 1. And on my right side, there was one measuring about a 13, which is a pretty sizable follicle for my right ovary. And the other 2 15s from my left either got smaller or they were mismeasured yesterday or something, but the problem is I have a big chunk of follicles on my left ovary that are all 11s and 12s, and there are so many of them that I'm now ruled out for IUI because of the risk factors. If I continue to stim, they will likely grow, and there's just too many of them. I have a ton, actually, smaller ones also that started growing on the left side that are like 7s, 8s, 9s. So if I weren't going to participate in the egg study, then I would have to cancel this cycle. Now, as far as the egg study is concerned, Mike was on board with it, and I liked having it as an option. However, we both had a lot of questions, and it seemed pretty inconsistent when we were trying to find out about it. Now, the first doctor that told me about it did say we've had patients that were offered this because of the way their cycle was going and because they were candidates. And they've gone out and told friends about it, and it's not something that they just offer. It's more if the treatment that they're giving you doesn't go right, and you would have to cancel. If you are still interested, this is a program that they can offer you. So yesterday, I received a call from the financial office, and she said, "Do you have questions about the oocyte study program?" And I said, "Yes." And she immediately said, "Financial, I'm sorry. I mean to tell you, I'm calling from the billing office. I can't tell you anything scientific about it." Which was a bummer to me because I had questions on both ends of that, obviously. But I thought, I'll just save what I'm going to ask for tomorrow. Well, it turns out she knew a lot more than she claimed to, because I don't even know what I asked her to make her think that she needed to tell me. I basically said I'm unsure of what the process is and what I'd have to pay for. So she basically went through everything she knew, and that was that this is essentially the same process as an embryo transfer, except how the embryo is formed is different. So as a patient of this study, they have been in practice since I think like 1997, and they do take egg donations, and they do freeze eggs. But because eggs are a single cell and there are fewer of them when you get, for example, a donation of sperm, if you lose several million sperm, you still have several million sperm, so that's fine. But if you lose half of 10 eggs, you only have 5, and that's a problem. So they're just perfecting their techniques. And she said, when you participate in this, you're helping us get better results out of egg freeze, but you're also getting a procedure at a discounted cost. Now, what that procedure costs is the price of medication, the price of monitoring, and the price of anesthesia. Now, I have already paid for my medications. I paid a $40 copay for them because they're covered under IUI on my insurance. My insurance does not cover IVF, none of it, not even the meds. But meds for IUI it does cover. So I paid a $40 copay for that. For monitoring, I have to pay a $40 copay every time I go in. So I have been and will be paying for that. The anesthesia is $400, and that I have not yet paid for, but it would just be due at the time of the egg retrieval. So all these questions of is it $700, is it $1,500, is it free? Now I know it would cost me $400 for the anesthesia, and then I'll be paying for my office visits every time I have one between now and when it takes place. The biggest question I had, the most important one in my opinion, was, am I having an embryo implanted for the transfer, or is it just eggs and sperm and they're just hoping for the best? Because the first doctor that I talked to about it, she very specifically kept saying egg and sperm, and she kept going egg and sperm. Like she was talking about them like they were two very separate things. And although they are, when they are transferred, it is transferred as an embryo. So what would be done is, right now I'm on schedule I have to go back on Thursday and be monitored Thursday. They think that I'll have to go back again on Saturday, and then trigger on Saturday, and then Monday have the retrieval. So when that happens, the eggs that are retrieved, however many they are, because again, you can't usually see all of my right ovary, so there could be other follicles that they can't measure. So they'll take all of whatever is in there and do a freeze. And when we're ready to do our transfer, say we want to wait a couple months or we want to do it the next cycle, they'll count back 5 days from the date that they would schedule the transfer, and then they will need Mike to provide a sample that they would then create embryos from. So they start the thaw 5 days ahead and create the embryo to then implant. So instead of freezing and unfreezing an embryo, it's just the egg. So if I don't have many, there is a risk associated with that. However, if I cancel this cycle, I've taken drugs for 2 months for nothing, basically. Now, knowing what I know at this point, I'm almost amazed that injectable IUIs are possible, because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I would be really surprised to see someone have 2 lead follicles only and all the rest are so much smaller that they can't even be counted, and have that be how the cycle goes. And this has felt very long and drawn out to me. And even the woman at the front desk, when I walked in today, she said, "Are you still doing this?" And I honestly was glad finally somebody thinks that this has been taking forever, because I feel like it's been taking forever. But apparently this is just how you have to do it. Very slow and steady to make sure that it's not too much. You know, I'm coming from being used to stimulating for IVF, so you know, I didn't see these kinds of snail-like results before, and wasn't expecting it this time around. But my estrogen level went from 87 to 220 something or 230 something yesterday. So I'm progressing well enough that they probably won't have to increase my dose, and I'll just keep kind of going. If at any point something makes me want to stop, I'll just tell them I don't want to do it. But I feel like I've got my answers that I needed, and Mike is thrilled. I mean, it could have brought tears to my eyes to see how he reacted when I came home today and I told him, I can confirm to you now that I know there is for sure, because I went over everything again with the nurse that I talked to the girl in the financial office about, because I'm not a dummy. Clearly this girl works with numbers and computers all day, and she isn't providing these procedures. So I asked one of the nurses. She said all of that was exactly right. And Mike was really, really happy. He loves the idea of basically only paying for anesthesia, but getting, hopefully, if it all goes well, to the point where it's as close to the IVF treatment that we had done before as possible. Because an IUI obviously doesn't have as great a success rate. So I feel good about that, I guess. I just feel surprised that this is how it's going, but the decision's based solely on the fact that it isn't too much money. I was able to finally get the answers that I need, and everything sounds good to me so far, and that my body just didn't do what it needed to do in order to continue with the cycle that we had planned. So Mike and I had said to each other, because we don't really do the New Year's resolution thing, but he said, you know, if you were to make a resolution, what would it be? And I told him I want to be very aggressive this year about getting pregnant. I don't want to have a lot of downtime and a lot of time where we just sit around feeling sorry for ourselves and feel helpless and just spending a month crying for no reason. I've done that way more than I'm proud to admit, and it's taken us to this point, and we're still trying. And although what I'm about to go into is a study program, it is technically experimental. It has had successful pregnancies before. They love to bring that line up whenever they say something about it, even though they kind of sound surprised by it. Then I'm in. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do all of these things and do what it takes. I don't feel like I'm doing anything that is unusual or could be harmful to my body in any way. So I feel like I'm comfortable with doing this. And I feel like we kind of looked into as many of the precautions as we need. And we'll be signing a contract for it. So it will not replace my second IVF. It is its own separate procedure and treatment, and it will lay out the details of what I am expected to pay, and that way I won't be hit with a huge bill. I'll just be paying for the anesthesia, and everything else I've basically paid for, with the exception of my next few office visits. So that's all I know. If you have any questions for me, or if you have any questions that you think that I haven't thought of that I should look into, I'm certainly welcome to that. But as far as everything stands, I'll just continue on with the dose I'm on tonight and tomorrow, and then go in Thursday in preparation for possibly triggering on Saturday. So we will see. Thank you so much for all your support and all of your suggestions and well wishes. It has meant a lot, because this is certainly not the road that we thought we would be going down at this point, but I'm grateful to have it as an option, and just to see where things go. So thanks, guys, and I'll update you when I have more. All right, have a good day. Bye.